These are to prevent blood clots. It's like keeps their compression stocking, and for surgery when you're not moving your blood, I mean your muscles aren't pumping your blood around. Okay. That's when it can pool in your calf. So we put these on everyone who has surgery.
Okay.
And then a lot of times in recovery, the surgeons will want you to wear them. But we'll go over that when it's discharge time. They'll put the orders in.
Okay. Okay, so it's almost time. Still nervous, but it's gonna be okay. Look for the IV in. That hurts so bad.
What's up guys, it's me Ayana. Welcome back to Ayana Anise. So you guys, today I'm going to be talking about how I tore my ACL, LCL, PCL, and damaged 2 nerves in my leg. So let's get right into this video. So I decided that, well, let me start off with this. So if you don't know, some of you may know, but some of you may not know, I go to Towson University. Sorry. I'm going there to get my bachelor's degree in graphic design, interior design, and cosmetology, but I'm going to go ahead and do graphic design first. So while I was at Towson, I decided that I wanted to join a soccer club. So they have a women's soccer club there, and I decided to join, and I was doing good. I mean, I am, like, COVID really made me, like, even more out of shape than I already was, but, yeah. So, October 6th is when I got hurt. So, I'm gonna tell you guys how this happened, and I'm gonna explain, like, how my day was going before I went to practice. So, I woke up, it was, like, I think it was, like, 12 or 1 o'clock, and I found out that I had soccer practice that day. I mean, I knew, but because I was tired, it didn't really dawn on me yet. And it was kind of like a droopy day, or gloomy day, because, like, there was, sorry, that's my fan. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise during the video. But, so basically, it was a very gloomy day. The clouds were covering up the sun, which I was kind of happy about because usually it's like really, really hot because the sun is beaming so much. So I woke up, I got dressed, I ate something, I packed my soccer bag. I really didn't feel like going to soccer today. I was just like, I don't feel like going to soccer, I should just stay home. But then I was like, I already missed the last 2 practices, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. So I packed my bag and I left, and I ended up, the field is not far from where I live because I live in a dorm, so it's literally across the street. So I just walked across the street. I got there a little late because I was like, let me eat something before I go so that I don't get sick. And so I got there, everybody was already starting to do drills, so I went off to the sidelines and I started doing my stretching before I do the drills. So I did my stretches and everything, and then I ended up doing the drills, and we were doing, so this is the part where I get hurt. So we were doing 1v1, so if you don't know what that is, that's basically when I play defense. So I go against like the offense or the midfielder, and my goal is to keep them from kicking the ball into my goal. So we were practicing 1-on-1. And so it was like 2 other people before me, okay? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do so bad, but then I was like, you know what? It's okay. We got this. This is practice. I'm gonna get this done. And so it was my turn. They kicked the ball. I ran, because they kick it in the middle so that the defense and the offense have to like run towards it. So they kicked it in the middle, and I ran. Sorry, I just cut myself. Distracted. So I ran, and I got to the ball, and I got to the ball second, because my teammate, she got to the ball first, and so I was trying to kick it between her legs, and I did, but this is where everything went sideways. So I kicked the ball. So I like kicked the ball, she's here, and the ball is like right under my foot, and she kicks the ball from under my foot. Like I stepped on the ball, and she kicked it while it was under my foot. And next thing you know, like I tripped, but something felt different about this trip. Like I tripped, and then I fell. And then I automatically felt pressure, like, it was like, I didn't even have a second to breathe. It was like, boom. And I ended up holding my leg. It felt like when you go to the doctors and you're about to get like a shot or blood withdrawn, and not a shot, when you're getting blood drawn, and they like put this rubber band on your, wherever they're drawing blood from, and they tie it really tight. That's how it felt, but like 10 times worse. And so I was like, what is going on? And I looked down. Well, even before I looked, well, when I looked down, I could see that my leg, your leg is this is my knee, right? So your leg is supposed to be like this. My leg was like this. So yeah, it's kind of hard to show, but like, yeah. So my leg went like this. So this is like the top of my leg, my knee, and boom. So my knee ended up going off to the side, which took my leg off to the side. And so my leg was not straight, and I was in so much pain. And I'm telling you, when I fell, like, you know how like sometimes you watch movies and it'll be like somebody gets hurt or somebody gets shot or something, and it's like slow motion? That's how I felt when I was going down and hitting the ground. Like, it was like slow motion. I was like, what is happening? And so I was screaming, you guys. Like, I was screaming to the top of my lungs. Like, if you've ever heard of a woman, like, giving birth, that's how I was screaming. I was screaming so bad. Because, so I've had my knee pop out of place before and pop back in, but my knee didn't pop back in. And my leg wasn't facing the right way. So I was in so much pain. And so it took a minute, because I don't think people like realize that I hurt myself at first. I think they just thought like I fell down. But maybe like a minute or two later, that's when everybody starts coming and running over. And one of my teammates calls our physical therapist, who's like, I guess you could say, I don't know what you would call it. But she came over, and she was holding my leg, and I was holding my knee. She was trying to hold my leg, like, because of the way my leg was bent, she was trying to hold it so that it wouldn't put too much pressure on it. So she held my leg, and I was just on my side, just bawling my eyes out. Like, I was in so much pain. So it was like maybe like 5 minutes. They were trying to get me to calm down. Like, she said I was doing good, and what I was trying to do is I was trying to breathe, so I was like, I was trying to keep my breathing like as calm as possible, because I noticed that when I wasn't breathing like properly, and I was like that was making my pain a whole lot worse. And so I was trying my best to keep calm and everything. And so she called the ambulance. Well, she called the police first, and she called the ambulance. Then she called the ambulance. And so the police came over maybe like 5-10 minutes later, and I'm still on the ground crying and bawling my eyes out. The police come over. They're asking me questions like your student ID, your name, your birth date, where you live, etc., like stuff like that. So they come over, they're talking to me. I'm still over here screaming, and I hear like my soccer team, and I hear some of the people from the men's soccer team. They came over, and they were like, you got this, it's okay, you got this, like, calm down, it's okay, it's okay. One thing I hate is when people say calm down and I'm like really, really hurt. Like, I hate that. But I was really glad that they were trying to help me and try to calm me down and everything, and try to take my mind off of what's going on with my leg. And so, like, the team is cheering me, the physical therapist is talking to me, trying to calm me down, and then one of my other teammates is trying to talk to me and try to calm me down. Then I got the police talking to me, and then I got another officer that came over asking me the same questions. And so it was just like, oh my gosh, so many people are talking to me at the same time. I was like freaking out, and I was trying to keep my, like, I was trying to stay calm. And so maybe like 5 minutes later, I start to hear the ambulance. And the ambulance comes over, and we are, at this point, I'm still freaking out. Oh, I forgot to say, before the ambulance came, I did call my dad, and I was telling him that my leg popped out. I think that he thought that my leg popped out like how it's done before, but that wasn't the case. So the physical therapist was talking to him on the phone. And then I told him I would call him later because I didn't want my phone to die. I told him that I was going to the hospital, and the therapist told him what hospital I was going to because I didn't know what hospital I was going to. I was still screaming and everything and crying, and it was a lot. So the ambulance comes over, and I'm still on the ground, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, can they please hurry up? Like, in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is taking them so long? Like, they got there, but they were, like, waiting. Like, I don't know, it felt like they were just, like, taking their good old time, and I'm just over here in pain. I was just like, oh my gosh, can we please, somebody just get me to the hospital, give me some medicine, something. And so, they finally came over a few minutes later. This part hurt so freaking bad. So, they had to lift me up to put me onto the gurney. Mind you, I was on my side like this because that's the way I fell down. They have to like they have to turn my body and lift me up. And this is the part that hurts so freaking bad because my leg had like settled. Like, I was still in a lot of pain, but not as much pain because I wasn't moving my leg around. So when they lifted me up, they were like, this is probably gonna hurt, but we're gonna try to do this as quickly as possible. So they lifted me up, and I screamed. I screamed so freaking loud, like everybody was staring at me. And at this point, I was like, I don't care who is staring at me. I am in pain right now. So, like, I think it was because when they lifted me up, my knee ended up shifting a little bit. And so, like, basically what I was saying is that, like, your knee is like this. So apparently when they looked at the x-ray, my leg was like this. Like my, what is it? I think it's like the tibia or fibia. It was like this. And my knee was like this. So like the bones weren't. And so I was feeling this. Like, this is what it felt like when they were moving me. It felt like my knee was like going side to side inside my leg. And that's what was really hurting me when they lifted me up. So they got me on, but they didn't want to move me yet because of how much pain I was in and because my leg was not stable. So what they did was they took like some type of, I don't know what it is, like it was like this really, really long red thing, and they put it between my legs. So like this is my injured leg. So they put a red thing here and a red thing here, and then they wrapped it to keep my leg stable while they transported me. And so we got into the ambulance, and next thing you know, my leg decides it wants to move again, and I scream. And the I don't know what you call them, the paramedic lady, the one that was next to me, she was like, oh my gosh, and then she just started laughing. And I was like, in my head, I was so mad because I'm like, I'm over here in pain and you're laughing at me being in pain. But I get sometimes some people laugh whenever they're like uneasy. Ouch. So I will show you guys what my leg looks like. It still hurts right now, but we'll get to that. So I'm in the ambulance. I screamed like 3 times in the ambulance, like really, really loud. Like, it took us maybe like 5-10 minutes, and we were just sitting in the ambulance. They were trying to put like the what do you call it? The IV. They put an IV in my arm, and he put some type of medicine inside of my IV. Sorry, I say so many times. I really gotta stop doing that. But they put me inside. They put the medicine inside, and then after that, we went to the hospital. The hospital was like 5 minutes away. We got to the hospital. We got inside of the emergency room. They're asking me questions again. What's your name? Your birth date? They asked me like social security stuff. And so I told them. And then, well, at this point, my body was like settled, okay? Like when I got out the ambulance to go into the hospital, my body was settled. But then, the minute somebody asks me questions, boom, I'm screaming again. I'm screaming again. I don't know what it was. Like maybe it was like me talking a lot was tensing me up. But I was like, whoo. Yo, I've never felt that much pain in my life. Not even when I broke my wrist. Like when I broke my wrist, yeah, I cried. But it wasn't that bad. And so they wheeled me into like this room. I can hear my phone going off because I called my mom before I called my dad, but she didn't answer. My dad answered. And so I could hear my phone going off, and I knew that it was mom that was calling me, but I couldn't get to the phone because one, I was in a lot of pain, and two, I didn't have my phone in my hand. My phone was with one of the doctors that had my my soccer bag. So they put me into the room, and the doctors come in and they're giving, or the nurses, they're coming in and they're giving me some more medicine to try to help with the pain. We're waiting for the x-ray to come in. So x-ray comes in and they're taking x-rays of my leg and everything. That was painful because I had to try to stay still. Like my leg wasn't wrapped or anything. So I still had to try to stay still with my leg acting the way that it was acting. And so, of course, I screamed Bloody Mary again. And then they took the x-rays, and the doctor gave me my phone because she heard my phone kept going off. So I answered the phone. I talked to my mom, told her where I was. She said she was on her way. And then one doctor came in. He was saying, hey, we are going to get the orthopedic to come in, and he is going to pop your leg back in place. So yeah, my leg wasn't broken. I thought it was broken when I fell, but no, it wasn't broken. It was dislocated. And so we were just waiting a while for the ortho to come in. Like when I got there, it was like maybe it was like an hour later when the ortho came in to pop my leg back in place. So he comes in. I'm still in a lot of pain. Like the medicine, it's working a little bit, but I was like really, really quiet, like not talking to anybody unless they asked me a question. But he comes in, he's like, hi, my name is such and such, nice to meet you. And at this point, I was in excruciating pain. Like it just hit me out of nowhere. And I was screaming like so freaking loud. I was screaming and screaming, and I was like, please just put it back in, please. I need you to just put my knee back in place, please. I was like, I really cannot talk right now. Like I was yelling, and I usually don't yell at people, but I was in way too much pain, and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to answer any of your questions right now until you put my leg back in place. So he was like, okay, let's just go ahead. And I forgot what medicine they gave me, but they put something in my IV that's supposed to like make me loopy and like not have to really feel what's going on in my when they pop it back in place. That didn't really work. I mean, maybe it could have been worse, I don't know, but what I felt was bad. So they put the medicine in. Then a few minutes later, he's like, okay, we are going to go ahead and pop this back in place. So what he does is he like, it's kind of hard for me to show you because I don't have my tripod. So basically what he does is, let's say this is like my leg, right? So what he does is he pulls it towards my body. No, he pulls it towards him, right? And then he like lifts it up. This is my knee. He lifts it up and then he pops it in. That, I was screaming. Like the first move that he did when he like pulled it towards him and then lifted it up, I was screaming. Y'all, that was bad. It wasn't as bad as when it popped out, but it was bad. So they did all that. Then they went and they gave me a brace. I can show you guys the brace that they gave me. So they put on this brace. So this is the brace that they gave me right here. So they gave me this brace. It was locked so that I wouldn't be able to bend my leg. So they gave me that brace and then they had me put it on, and I actually really like that brace better than the one that I have on now. So they put the brace on, and then maybe like a few minutes later, my mother comes in and the doctors are like, she's very loopy right now because they had to pop her leg back in place. But they were telling my mom everything that happened, like the medicine they gave me and all that stuff. And so then they go ahead and the ortho, he says that I'm going to have to get surgery. He said that it seems like I'm probably going to have to get surgery. They're going to do more testing just to make sure and to clarify. So first they get the x-ray person to come back to make sure that he popped it back in place properly. Then after that, they took me to, I can't remember if it's the MRI or the CAT scan that I went to. I did both, but I can't remember which one came first. And so I did the MRI and CAT scan, and then I came back, and then they gave me and my mom food because it was like 10 o'clock at night. Mind you, I hurt myself at 4. So from 4 until 10, like that's a pretty long time. And so after they gave us a sandwich, it was like 10 o'clock, and then the doctors came in and they said that I am going to have surgery because I tore my ACL, LCL, PCL, and I damaged nerves in my leg. So what I forgot to tell you guys is when I first heard it, like when it came out of place on the soccer field, like maybe a few minutes after I dislocated it, my leg went numb. So that's what the nerves got damaged were. They were so that I can move my foot like up and down and side to side and walking. I can't really do that yet. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to have surgery. Like, I've never had surgery in my life, and I was really hoping that I never was gonna have to have surgery, but yeah. So after they say I gotta have surgery, they decide that they want to keep me overnight, but because of COVID, my mom wasn't able to stay with me. I was kind of disappointed about that, just because I've never had to stay in the hospital before, and so it was kind of scary. And so maybe like, it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and my mom had to leave because they were taking me upstairs to my room that I was going to be staying in overnight. So I went upstairs, I got into my bed, and let me tell you guys, I've never had to use a bedpan before, okay? Never. So like, right after they put my leg back in and everything, this is before I went upstairs. So right when I put my, after they put my brace on, maybe like an hour later I had to use the bathroom. I thought they were just going to like give me crutches and I was going to be able to go to the bathroom. No, they didn't want me moving my leg at all. So they had me pee in a bedpan, you guys. In a bedpan. I never ever thought I would have to pee in a bedpan. And that was embarrassing because they had to cut my underwear off. Like, they already had to cut my leggings off, because I was wearing leggings when I was playing. But then they had to cut my underwear off, and so I was like, oh my gosh. I did not like it at all. So, yeah. And when I went upstairs, there was like a physical therapist there, and he was helping me to like learn how to get around. They gave me a walker, so they were teaching me like how to get around with the walker and everything. And so this time when I had to use the bathroom, they had like a little like I don't know what it's called. It's like a bathroom, it's like a toilet that you can roll into the room, sit down, use it, and then roll it out and dump it. That's what they gave me. I know it's TMI, but yeah, it was a struggle that day. So that day was crazy. I got to go home the next day. It was like 11 o'clock the next day at night that I got to go home. So my parents got me into the van. We have a 12-passenger van, so it's a pretty high up van. So we got into the van. We had to go back to my dorm first, because that's where my clothes and everything was, because like I said, I was living on campus and I didn't really have anything at home. Sorry, hiccups. And so we went to the dorm, but it was very difficult to get me out of the van because all I had was a walker, and I don't really have like good upper body strength. And so we didn't have a wheelchair yet. And so my parents went inside and they asked them if we could borrow one of the because they had rolling chairs in our building, and so they let me use a rolling chair. It was better than me using the walker, but I still had to like hold my leg with my hand because I didn't have anything for my foot to rest on like I would if I was in a wheelchair. So we get to my dorm and we're just packing up some stuff and we go back home. I'm sleeping on the couch because my parents used my room as a storage room since I wasn't here. So, yeah. Let me just say, that whole 2 days, that was an experience I do not want to have again. Like, the thing is, I still want to play soccer though. But I don't know if I'm going to go and do soccer again next semester. Because I really don't have time to keep getting hurt. So, we'll see. I really, soccer is something I really, really love to play. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next semester. Or if I'm even going to be able to go to, like, actual class next semester. Because I'm going to give you guys another story time about the surgery and everything. But the surgeon said that it's going to take about 6 months to a year for me to fully recover. So, like, walk and run and sit down and squat and everything like that. So, yeah. I'm sorry that this video was very long. I've never done a story time before, so I'm still getting used to it. And I haven't made a video in a very long time, so it's kind of weird, just a little bit. But yeah, that was a story of how I tore my ACL, LCL, PCL, and damaged 2 nerves. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at AyanaAnise, and I will see you guys in the next video.